Welcome back, you guys. I am so excited for today's video because we're going to play a little game called This or That, or at least, you know, that's the name that popped in my head. But I went through my whole entire eyeshadow palette collection. My shelf is a mess, and I found palettes that had similar color stories, similar vibes, but I want to show them all to you, and we're going to decide which one is better, this or that. Get it? Anyways, I'm excited. I have like 80 palettes here, so this is probably going to be 2 parts, but I'm excited to dig in, and you guys can let me know in the comments down below whether or not there's any palettes I missed, because it was kind of overwhelming. But yeah, I'm super excited, but let's go ahead and get started. If this is your first time here, hi, my name is Heather, and I love all things makeup, especially colorful makeup and indie brands. And if you guys love those things too, I really hope you will subscribe. And don't forget to click the little bell so you can be notified of all my future uploads. I really am so obsessed with indie brands and indie brands and colorful makeup, but I really love some grungy stuff. There are some palettes in here where I have like similar, like one category is like 9 palettes. So you can totally see within this video like what type of color stories I'm really like gravitating towards. But I'm excited to show you guys everything. I do have codes with some of these brands. If I do, I will pop them up on the screen, but just please know all my codes are affiliated, so I do make a small kickback. But thank you guys so much for using my codes and supporting my channel. But with all of that being said, we're gonna get started for real this time. I don't even know where to start. Like, I'm gonna show you guys a little clip of my table. We got piles upon piles. That's why you guys know I'm gonna want to swatch everything. So that's why I am most likely gonna make this 2 parts, but I will try to upload them back to back. That way you guys don't have to like wait too long to see the next part. But I hope you guys like this video. It came to me one day when I was just, someone in the comments mentioned that a palette was similar to another palette, and I can't remember exactly what they said, but that is what inspired this whole video. So thank you to whoever left that comment. I'm gonna go grab some wipes real quick and we're gonna dig in. Okay, so I'm just gonna reach for the stack that's closest to me, and it is these 4 palettes. Now, the way I did it was, like, I saw a palette and I saw a color story that was similar, but then it might have like little differences, but that color story led me to another color story. So some of these aren't like dead on, but most of them aren't dead on, but they have similar vibes. You can get similar looks with all of them. And I'm excited to see like what you guys have in your collection as well. So the first category is this one. And this one is really pretty. I don't think this palette was supposed to be in here. It was not. That palette goes in there. Like I said, there's a whole mess over there. But the first one I wanted to talk about was the Florist Story. So this palette released a couple of years ago. It was a collab between ODENS and Makeup Just for Fun. Now I have 2 of her collabs. I just realized that. But I love this fairy whimsical garden. It's so freaking beautiful. This color story is everything. I love the cool tone greens. It's a very like muted color story, which I can tell she really likes that because her other palette is really muted as well, which totally aligns with what I like too, which is why I do have both of her collabs. But very beautiful. And then we have the Unearthly Cosmetics. I'm pretty sure this is the Mellow Grove. Now you can tell like these aren't dead on dupes, but you could totally get similar looks out of these. They are really, really beautiful. I really love like the muted color stories. I want to be honest though, I have not retched for this one since I filmed my video with it. It's just kind of like left my mind. This one I have used like several times, but there's one more, and it's the Muse from Cosmic Brushes. This one's not as muted as the others, but they do have very similar color stories. So I don't know how I'm supposed to hold 3 palettes up, or what am I going to do when I get to the 9. But here they are side by side, and you could totally see like the similar vibes. So personally, for me, if I had to pick like one, it's gonna be this one. I love this freaking palette. Again, with the fairy, whimsical, garden, it just makes me so freaking happy. This is such a gorgeous color story, and I've used this palette over and over and over. It's one I'm so happy to have in my collection. It has like most of what these 2 palettes have, but also more, and there's a lot more twists in here. And if you've been here on my channel for a while, then you know I love that twist. I love adding a pop of some random color to my eye looks and finding a way to make it work. It's so fun for me. It's my favorite. But if I had to choose a second, it's going to be the Floristory. I think she did such a spectacular job on this, and I'm so happy to have it in my collection. Okay, so the next stack has 6 palettes, and there are some really good ones in here and that I know I'm going to want to swatch. But the first one is the Samarian Sunset from ADEPT Cosmetics. Like, I prefer a more matte to shimmer ratio, but these shimmers are so freaking spectacular. They're so good. Like, I've talked about it a lot in a lot of videos. I love them so much. So I'm going to show you the palettes first. And then next we have the Trick or Treat from ODENS and ANGELICA NYQVIST. Like, you could see they're completely different palettes, but you could dupe this palette with this palette. You see what I mean there? I love this one as well. I've had so much fun with it. Both of these are palettes that I've pulled out, but I don't pull the ADEPT one out for the mattes. I do it for the shimmers, because those mattes don't layer in that palette. So kind of like what you see is what you get. You can't really, they layer on top of each other, but they don't deepen up. That's what I meant. And then next I wanted to pull out this one. I did get this one in PR, the High Temp from Unearthly Cosmetics. Now, it doesn't really vibe with this one as much, but it totally vibes with this one. You see what I mean? Like, it's so beautiful. I love both of these. I've had so much fun. I lost my mind. This was the first time I got PR, and it was from my favorite brand. So oh my god, I use this palette so much. I have reels and everything up on that one. And then we have the Lethal Cosmetics. I cannot remember what the freaking name of this is. Why? Please put the names on the palettes. Like, I don't understand why they, like, you could put it on the back. Anything, please. But it might have been like Metamorphosis. I think that's the green one though. I can't remember. But you could totally see the vibes. And this one kind of goes with all of the other ones, because we have this one as well. And they go so well together. This stack doesn't have as many as I thought it did though. It has like 4. These are the only ones. But if I had to pick this or that with these, oh my god, that's like the hardest thing ever. Say I had to get rid of all of them and I could only keep one, and I had a small collection, which one would I pick? That's how I need to think of it. So this one would definitely go. And then these shimmers are so pretty, and I almost want to just keep this one because of that. But if it was like the only one and I had a small collection, I feel like you could get way more looks out of this one than you can the other ones, because you do have those green pops in here and they're beautiful. This shimmer right here, it's called Crypt Keeper. It's like a blackened olive. It's got like a black base. I almost put that on my wrist. It's so freaking pretty. I lost my mind over this shade. It's so pretty. So highly reflective. I feel like the the mattes in this Lethal palette are a little dull. They're not a brand I'm familiar with their formula, so I can't really speak too much on it, but the mattes in this one just aren't as good. I mean, the shimmers as the others, but this shade right here is really pretty. They're pretty, like there's nothing wrong with them, like they're good quality. They're just not the type of shimmers that I go for. This shade is really pretty though. Like, do you see that? I just like more glitter, I guess is the word for it, than what they have in theirs. But like you could tell by that swatch alone, they are reflective. I just like that a little extra pizzazz. And I love the shimmers in this one. My two favorite shades in this palette though are Bright and Warm. They're so pretty. But my favorite shimmer in this palette is Glowing. And it's so like fiery, peachy, gold. So pretty. So glowy. It makes me so freaking happy. It's so beautiful. It's like a lighter shade almost than that top one. That top one just has like a green flip. Maybe I need to give those palettes another chance. I mean, it's been a long time. But if I had like a good range of mattes, I would probably keep this for the shimmers. This palette is so good. I can't stand it. I could sit here and swatch every single one of these, but I'm not going to let myself. Look at that holochrome. Watch this one show all these other shades out. Like, oh, at least for me, I just love a holo. They make me so happy. I did pick up the new Adept palette. I'm just waiting for it to get here. The Vivettes. I can't remember how to pronounce it. But yeah, it's beautiful. I really love this shade as well. Like, there's so many good ones in this one. Freaking gorgeous. So in this deck, we only have two. And this is the newest one that's been released, the Nomad Chicago Speakeasy. It's so beautiful. They're actually getting ready to launch another one. I love how cool toned it is. I love the pop of green. I had I had so much fun creating looks with this palette. I like that it's got enough differences to where you could really get a lot of different looks out of it. Variation, that's the word I was looking for. But it's really, really similar to Groovy Garden. Do you see it? It's so pretty. They both are. I love the shimmers in this palette, but I really love the shimmers in this one. I feel like Nomad has really stepped up their shimmer formula. I think both of these are really beautiful. Honestly, I don't think I could even pick between them. Oh, man. Oh, it's so hard. I don't know. I don't think I can pick between them. I really love them both. I think it's so beautiful. Look, you could see all my dirty desk. Look at all these stacks of palettes. But I just love them both. I highly recommend you guys already know. We're going to swatch some stuff. There's not very many shimmers in this Nomad palette. There's 5, which sometimes it's easier to have a smaller palette. You don't feel as like overwhelmed, but I don't discriminate. I like a small and big palette. The smallest palette I will go though is a 6-pan. I need more than 6 shades, preferably, but I can handle 6, but nothing lower than that. But these are from the Nomad palette. These are very iridescent, like I almost said closed base. They're kind of like a see-through base, but you can layer them up and make them more impactful, or you could put them on top of a colored matte and really make them pop that way. But then we have, oh my god, this is my favorite shade in the Groovy Garden palette. It's so spectacular. Insane. You can sheer this one out, or you can go over it a few times and really build it up. Especially if you use some form of a glitter glue, you will really, really get that impact on those. But like I said, there's no freaking way I could pick between these two. But let me know, which one would you pick? I got some hair in my mouth. I have a few new palettes in this as well, in these stacks, but so I can't speak on formulation. I mean, some of them I'm really familiar with the brand, so I think they're going to be good, but I haven't used them yet, so I just wanted to throw that out there, and I will tell you when we get to those, because we're at one right now, and it is from Fantasy Cosmetica, and it's the Barred palette. This is so pretty. I love this color story so freaking much. Why am I taking it that far away? I just think it's so stunning. But it kind of reminds me of like a brighter version of the Unearthly Cosmetics Fairy Frolic. Do they not? The Fairy Frolic also kind of reminds me of the Muse from Cosmic Brushes, but I really felt like it fit better in this category. I want to touch these shades so bad. I already stuck my nail in that one. But you guys know I really love like grungy color stories. And I really love Fantasy Cosmetica, so I'm so excited to have them in my collection. So we're going to swatch this palette, and you guys are going to get my, like, you know, first impressions of these shades on camera, which is kind of cool. So this is the shade Legend, and it's really pretty. It's like purple to blue. There's a little bit, is there green? Yeah, a little bit of green in there. That's such a gorgeous shade. This one looks really beautiful to me. In the center, it's Lore. Oh yeah, that is so stunning. I love the shade, the shimmer shades that they paired with the mattes. It's going to give you that like unexpected pop, like I was saying earlier. And I love this orangey gold. Oh, that's so beautiful. Look at that. That's gorgeous. But that is so pretty. And here we have Charismatic. Ooh, that's like a peachy pink shade. It's really pretty. Great inner corner shade. If you like that shimmery inner corner, I definitely do. But then we have Wanderer. This one feels a little more like dry, but it don't swatch that way. Look at that. Those are so freaking stunning. I think my favorite is probably the top. I don't know, I really like that gold too. But I thought these looked really, really similar. I can't really compare the two because, like I said, I haven't used this one, but I have used this one a lot, and it's one of my absolute favorites. But then we also have the Nomad Fiji 5 Lakes, and they have similar vibes too. I mean, the Nomad has a little more blue in it, but you could totally get similar looks, especially considering the Nomad is like bigger. You could probably get more variation of looks out of this one. Now, do these two go? Slightly, but not entirely. You see how like it works with some, but maybe not with others. But I think that one's really beautiful. I also put this one in here. This is the Gloomy Gardens. This was my first DIEVERUNES Cosmetics palette, and I really loved it. But these are similar. You could totally get similar. You could dupe the vibes of this little palette with this one, or vice versa, whichever one you are going for. But I think those are beautiful. And I have Harvest Moon, and this one goes with almost every one of these pretty much, and it's beautiful. I've gotten to use Harvest Moon off camera, but not on. This one is newer to my collection, and it's so freaking stunning. Tombstone is so pretty. And then we have Hunter's Moon, which is a gorgeous hollow. It makes me so happy. I love hollows. This shade though, Sparkling Cider, oh, it's so delicious. And Ghost Moon, you know what else this one reminds me of? The Ensley Rain Underland and the Poison Garden from Bella Beauty Bar. These are really similar vibes as well. This one would have so fit in there. But look at those. Oh, they're like so delicious. But there's some really pretty shades in this one as well, the Fairy Frolic. So I'm going to do Frolic because that one's kind of gold. And I need to compare. I should have done that a moment ago. So let's do that now. Ooh, yeah. That one's even stronger. So freaking pretty. I love it. I love it so much. You can totally tell that I do have a favorite like theme, totally. But this palette is from GLAMLITE. Let me wipe my hand off. But it is so good. Like, that release came out of nowhere. Like, I didn't know it was coming at all. And it was like, hey, we got this new release. But I'm so glad. This is so good. This is my favorite GLAMLITE palette that I've gotten in such a long time. And I love that they added this pop of gray in here. I talked about that recently in another video. But you could totally get similar vibes out of these. It's got that same like mustardy, grungy, dirty yellow, you know, color story, and I am all here for it. I cannot wait until next fall and I get to do my new fall palette video and bring all these out. Okay, so last winter a bunch of brands released very similar color stories, and it was like kind of all at once. So it's not that they duped each other, it's just they all knew what was going to be in. But this one released over the summer, and it is from Cosmic Brushes. It is the COOLTRALS palette. I love this color story. It's so beautiful and delicious. I love that it's so affordable as well, like considering, you know, the price of other palettes right now. It's like around $30, which is like half the price of what I'm paying everywhere else. And their quality is top tier, like really good. Look at that shimmer. It's so stunning. Put on top of like a glitter glue, you could really make it even better. It's got like that green, but it shifts so beautifully. I hope it's picking up. It's so hard to tell from this side of the camera, but it's so beautiful. There are so many good shades in here. This silver, it's called Moonlight. It's so good. They just did a restock on all of their palettes, and I highly, highly recommend. If there's a color story that speaks to you, you will love the quality. I've never heard anyone say they don't like a Cosmic Brushes palette, and for good reason. Like, that shade is so pretty. It's like a true, really good molten silver, but it's very similar to several palettes. So here's the COOLTRALS. I wish I could show them all to you at once. It's so hard. But then we have the Fantasy Cosmetica Cradled in Ice. And these two are super similar. Like, they are really similar. And it's hard to really pick one out of the two because I really, really love both of these palettes like a whole lot. The singles that came out in this Cradled in Ice collection were so freaking good. This is the shade Crystal though, and it is so stunning. I just lost my mind. I gasped. Let me turn my lights down just a tad. And it's so beautiful. So freaking beautiful. There are so many good shades in here though. It's such a beautiful palette. So now there's more though. We have 3 more actually. And the next is the Dreamer from Unearthly Cosmetics. They actually launched the Trio highlighter as like a single to where you can buy it alone without the collection. I could not recommend it more, especially if you're looking for more of that natural highlight. I think you will really love it. But these palettes are really similar, and I love it. Oh, I love it so much. And then I'll show you these two. Very, very similar vibes, but I love this palette. I think it's so beautiful. It's so many people's favorite palette from the brand, and for good reason. We have another hollow. I'm going to be here swatching all the hollows. They make me so happy. But Unearthly has such a smooth, thin shimmer formula. It's not flaky or anything like that. It's just so beautiful and effortless and just freaking perfect. I think a lot of people will love this. Let us know down below your thoughts, but I think it's spectacular. But then we got the Nomad New Zealand Stargazing. This was my favorite palette up until recently. Now it's a tie between this one and the Chicago Speakeasy. This is a more colorful story, and I am a colorful loving girl, but I love the shimmers. These have my favorite shimmers from Nomad. This is such a great palette. So we have Southern Cross, which is so pretty. Milky Way. Ooh, this one is my absolute favorite. I always try to get it to pick up on camera, but it's really hard. But it's got like, it's like green, pink, orange, white, and it has like a slight, very light tint of gray base to it, and it is so freaking beautiful, especially if you put this, like the gray in the crease, maybe with some of this shade right here. Let me think how you could do that. So maybe do the Cosmos and Dark Sky Nation in the outer corner, like make it smoky and, you know, halfway through the crease, kind of like how I have this brown shade here. And then use Southern Lights in the inner part of the crease and deepen a little bit with this shade, and then put this on the lid with this. It's going to be so freaking good. I love this palette. I love this brand. Look at that freaking multichrome. It makes me want to scream. I just love swatch parties. They're so freaking fun. But look at that. I love pulling out my palettes and like falling in love with them all over again. And that's honestly what I really want this video to be for everybody. A reason to fall back in love with some of your favorite palettes. You know, so much stuff gets released like back to back, and I'm not complaining because I like that. I know some people don't, but I like feeling inspired by something new. But that being said, sometimes we pass up things that are so good and it's sitting in our collection because we're so consumed by the new. And I know I do that. I kind of hope this video brings life back to some of our old favorites. But I was going to use this in this category, but it totally doesn't go. I think this got mixed up and somehow got put in the wrong stack. But I do really love this color story. There were a lot of similar ones that released, but I really love this color story, obviously, because I have 4 of them, but they are really great. And if you can get your hands on any of them, I do highly recommend. Ooh, this is one of my favorite stacks. I have 5 palettes in this one, and there are some really freaking good ones. So, do all these go together? Yes. So the first one is one I have not used yet, but it is the Eloquence palette, and it's so beautiful. These palettes would be so good for traveling, which I actually talked today in this video where I filmed this look with the little Nutty by Nature from Ensley Rain. It's so freaking beautiful. If you guys haven't seen it, I'm sure it could fit somewhere in one of these categories. But I am so excited because I'm going on a trip to Greece with NYQVIST and a bunch of other people, and I cannot freaking wait. I've never left the country. I've never been on an airplane, and I'm going by myself. So this is about to be such an adventure. And if you knew anything about me or know anything about me, you know I love a good adventure. So I am so excited. But these palettes will be so perfect for that. It makes me wonder as well if they are magnetic. I actually just bought this tool from Bella Beauty Bar. No, they're not magnetic, but it was a nice try, but they're still beautiful. There are some gorgeous shades within this collection, and I want to use it, but I picked it up way late, so that's why I haven't filmed with it, but it's beautiful. This one I just got, and it's from Fantasy Cosmetica, the Rogue palette. And this one doesn't necessarily go very well with this palette, but you will see similarities like later on. But this palette is beautiful. This is one I would love to take with me. I love the matte to shimmer ratio. I love the color story. And in a minute, we're going to swatch some of these shimmers. This is also a new one, and I love it so much, but Amanda bought me this one as a gift. I bought this one for myself, but look how similar they are. They are really, really, really close, but they are both so beautiful. And while they might be similar, there are different aspects to them. Like this one has the more bright green and the bright green shimmer. There's differences in the shimmers as well. I think they're both beautiful. And then we have the Aurora Lights by Simply Posh. I never take the stickers off my mirrors, but you can totally see the similarities here as well. They are all three so beautiful. I really enjoy Simply Posh a lot. I do have 3 palettes from them and I think they're beautiful, but the last one in this category is probably like my favorite color story wise, and it's Lands of Enchantment. I love this palette. Oh, it's so magnificent, like truly. It's like if I had to throw all of these away, I would keep the bigger one because one, it has more shades. I love the shimmer formula. I mean, I really do the ones from Unearthly and Fantasy Cosmetica as well. These ones are pretty good, but they don't beat out the others in my opinion. But this is a new one in my collection. I want to create some looks with it. But for now, we're going to do some swatches. Why not? First, let's swatch the shimmers in the Dead of Night palette. I hate that I missed After Dark. I should have got it when I had the chance. But it's so pretty. Let me tell you. There's something coming from Unearthly, and if this video is up after it's been shown, I'll pop up a photo, but I have it and it's so good. I cannot wait for you guys to see it. I'm so freaking excited. Why am I swatching these on my wrist? Because I was talking about that. It's so good. So good. So save your monies. If you like buying new releases like me, you might want to save your money. I did it again twice. 3rd time's a charm. That's what they say, huh? So this is the shade Star. And this palette has like their newer formulation as well. This shade is really, really pretty. You know what? It kind of reminds me of, and I don't know if I have it in here somewhere, but the Night Terror collection palette they just released. But this is the shade Dead of Night. I love how deep and gorgeous that is. It's so pretty. And then Forest. This is probably my favorite shimmer in this palette. It's really pretty. This palette is more on the affordable side for them because it only has like duos. There's no like crazy special shades, which I know a lot of people prefer that, but it's still like so beautiful. And then lastly, we have the shade Nightfall, which is like this gorgeous steely gray. One thing Unearthly Cosmetics can do, like probably they're one of the best, and that is Color Story. The whole vibe of that brand is so spectacular. But then we have this one. So we're going to be here all day if I try to swatch all these. I'm going to swatch my favorites. So, oh God, they're all good. They're all shifting. This one is really catching my eye. It's the shade Trickster. And again, this is the Rogue palette, which I think this one is really beautiful. Oh, wow. And that's like freaking silky. Look at that. There's so much more to this shade than what meets the eye on camera. Like, there's so much more. My hands look so dirty from swatching. I got claws. Then, let's see. Oh, man. I'm just going to swatch them real quick. This is Sleight of Hand. Ooh, I love that shade name. But, geez, that one is so pretty. There's like a very vibrant purple shift, and I don't know how well it's showing. I'll be in editing sometimes and get so excited because I can see the shifts. I'm like, yes, I'm not used to that because I've been filming on my phone since I started my channel until recently. And it's exciting that now you guys can see. But then we have the shade Sneak Attack. I love this. This shade makes me want to put, let's see, this shade in the very inner corner, this in the first half of the crease, this in the second half of the crease, deepened up with Assassin, and then that shade on the lid. It's so pretty. Actually, the purple and the green, maybe deepened up with that, would be so pretty on the lid with this shade as well, because it's like green, but it has this gorgeous, like, I don't know how to explain it, guys. My brain color dictionary doesn't go that far, but it is so beautiful. My little baby's sleeping over there in my chair. She's so freaking cute. I can't stand it. Last one, Deception. Ooh, wow, that one is so pretty. Man, I'm so glad I finally tried this brand this year. It's been a blast. Look at that. Oh, and I'm so glad Amanda bought me these palettes as a surprise, and it was such a surprise. And, okay, last. Listen, I could swatch every shimmer in here. I can't. I do have a video where I talk about all of my Bello Beauty Bar and Ensley Rain palettes, and I swatch the shimmers in all of them. I'll put the thumbnail up here somewhere. And I suggest you go check it out if you want to see like full swatches, because these shades in here are so good. Have you guys tried the Factor juices? They're so good. The Factor dinners are so freaking good. It's literally like gourmet TV dinners. It's not frozen. It all comes fresh. And it's top of the line. I've never had anything that good come pre-packaged in my whole life. It's so freaking good. It blew my mind. Highly recommend. But those smoothies are really good too. So, you guys know I love fairy everything. Look at Faye. Oh my god. And then we have Light Language. I'm going to do a video with this as soon as I get caught back up. We're going to do winter makeup. Yes. I'm going to put a sticky note somewhere so I don't forget. We have to do something with this palette. I will say there's like oil seepage in the palette, but I'm going to be honest with you, I don't really care. As long as it doesn't like get nasty or moldy. Look at that. Ooh, yes. Oh, it's so pretty. There's so many good ones. Let's do one more. No, two more. Here I'm like, we're not swatching them all, and then continues to swatch them all. Look at that. You can't judge me for how terrible my nails look, because, hold on, I'll explain after I show you these swatches, because I can't do both at the same time. But those are so, so beautiful. It's a little blurry, but sometimes you can see better when it blurs. But yesterday we got appliances delivered, and my refrigerator that I got is bigger than the one I had. Our refrigerator went out, so we went ahead and replaced the stove and refrigerator. But I had to take the old refrigerator apart, take as much of it as I could outside, and then take my front door off, my screen door off, and like I had to remove a cabinet from the wall because it was like a wine cabinet that was over my refrigerator. It was ugly. I didn't like it anyways. But I went through all this stuff and they could not get the refrigerator in the house. But that's why my nails look so terrible. I had to take banisters off the steps, everything. And it was all for nothing. Now I have to go rent a dolly and do this same thing but on a different door, different side of the house, and probably pay someone to help me bring it in. It's a whole nightmare, and I'm gonna have to take that refrigerator apart too and then put it all back together. It's been a whole thing. Yeah, so that's why my nails look so freaking rough. But I love this. I love these palettes. I love all four of them, but if I'm gonna recommend them, it's gonna be this stack. This one's not bad, but these ones are better, if that makes sense. Oh, and I forgot about the little Eloquence one. This one is beautiful too. I've actually not swatched the shimmer yet, but it has the new updated like matte formula, and I do really love it. I also picked up their restock of their older stuff, so I plan on doing looks with the Christmas palettes for sure for Christmas time, but I'm excited to get into those as well. But look at that. That is so pretty. Okay, so I'm going to do a few more stacks, and then we're going to close out the video, and you guys will have to stay tuned for part 2, which for me is going to be right after this one. But I don't want this video to be an hour long again, especially when I could make 2 videos. But this one has only 2 palettes. So one of my favorite palettes in my collection is the Lure from Unearthly Cosmetics. This color story to me is everything. I love grunge, I love orange, and I love green, and this one gives me all of it. The shimmers in here are so beautiful. This shade Griffin is so good, but the thing that reminds me of it is the Merry Christmas palette from Odens Eye. And I mean, obviously this one has a ton more shades, so you could get a lot more variation, but this one is no longer available. This one reminds me, you could dupe this little palette within this palette. I mean, I really like the Unearthly shimmers more, plus this one's still available, but you could totally see the similarities. Let me know if you think they're similar down below, but I see it, and I think they're both fantastic. I really love them. I have a lot of favorite shades in this palette. This shade New Year, it reminds me of the one from the Angelica collab that I showed you, the Trick or Treat, but this one is a little more emerald. This shade right here though, Elf Wish, is my favorite, but I feel like I'm buying all of these Odens Eye palettes to try to get this back, and like they can't dupe themselves, you know. I mean, they can, but it's probably not a good decision, like, you know, business wise. But I just think that shade is so pretty, and it kind of looks like Serpent from Unearthly Cosmetics, but the Elf Wish one is more punchy, and it has more of that peach orange in it. So freaking beautiful. I really do love both of these though. I did pick up the new Odens Eye Christmas palettes. I haven't gotten them in yet. No, I haven't picked them up. I'm getting ready to pick them up. I get confused. Like, there's so many releases during this time of the year, but it's like such a rush. It's so fantastic. But the next little stack is only 2. You see, I had to do little post-it notes because my brain can't remember anything. But this is my one and only palette from Wicked Widow. I did pick up the Halloween collection. It still hasn't shipped yet. I think they're still waiting on products. There's been a lot of stuff going on for brands and just shipping in general, so I'm trying to be patient. I know it's not their fault. They can't do anything about it, but this palette blew my freaking mind so much that I'm probably going to buy every palette with every color story that I like from them. The mattes are so freaking good. The shimmers are beautiful as well, but these mattes are 10 out of 10. But the palette really reminds me of the Vamp palette. Now, the Vamp, this is a new palette. It just released. It does have purples in it. But if you take the purples out, the palettes are so similar. So similar. And I love them both. There's no way I could choose. This is the Bella Beauty bar one is new. So, like, it really sticks out of my mind. But this is a palette that I have not forgotten. I actually took this with me on our Cyndi Lauper vacation, and because I had this outfit, it was like black jeans, and I have cherry dunks that are like red and black. They're so freaking cute. And I had a red and black flannel shirt. Like I said, I love flannel, and a black bodysuit under it. It was so cute. And this is the palette that I brought, and it was really good. But I love this. That's not what I wore to the concert. I did all pink, hot pink 80s crazy, like fishnets with the tutu and everything. I'm gonna do a video on it and recreate my look for you guys. But I love both of these. So I think this one is still available as well. I love this shade right here. I'm trying to pay attention because my battery's about to die and I need to get my lazy butt up and change it. but it's so pretty. It's a hollow as well, and I love it. You can probably see it better, that hollow shift. And then this one has a kind of similar shade. This one is called Shadows, and I love it. It's so pretty. It has more red in it. The Bella Beauty Bar one is stronger. You see, like more pigmented, like in your face. It's so pretty. But I love both of these palettes, but they totally have similar vibes. You could dupe one with the other. Especially if you have purples in your collection, then you could totally dupe the one from Bella Beauty Bar. But you ain't gonna dupe that quality. It's unmatched. I love Bella Beauty Bar. They're one of my top favorite brands, like ever, of all time. But this shade in this palette is so good. Like, oh, and this one, hold on, I'll swatch them. Hopefully before the battery kicks it. So this is Hello Brother. I love this. It makes me want to watch Vampire Diaries. I love the shade names. Above it is Salvatore. But this one is so pretty. It's hollow. It's so gorgeous. And then we have the shade Undead, which is another hollow. And it's so beautiful. Every time I like swatch shimmers, that song, If It Makes You Happy, pops in my head. And it makes me laugh. It's so freaking beautiful. I love it so much. Okay, last little stack, and it's only 3 palettes, but the first one is the Citrus Punch from Simply Posh. I actually bought this when it restocked, and it was just one of those palettes I never got the time to get to, which I hate, but hopefully I'll be able to get to it like this spring when these colors are really, you know, in. But this palette is so beautiful. I love this color story. I love like vibrant, beautiful things. I actually could have brought the Bella Beauty Bar, I think it's Melted Mattes palette in this, but I didn't think about it. But we also have the Flourish from Ensley Rain. Now, if I had to pick between the two, I'm definitely going with Ensley Rain, but I do think this one is really beautiful, and you could get very similar looks with them, especially if you didn't play like with the browns. I just stuck my finger in that. I've done that like 10 times in this video, but these are both beautiful, but you can't dupe the shimmer quality of these ones, I don't feel like. This is one of my favorites. I love a bunch of them, but I'm only going to swatch the 2 because we're running out of time. But these are so pretty, so fiery, and just gorgeous. They make me so happy and excited. I love them so much. But this palette is another one that I have not used. I know this is terrible, but it is the strawberry, what is it called? Strawberry Milkshake. I thought so. But it's so pretty. And even though you do have some of those deeper shades in this one, you can get similar looks out of these. And I'll compare these as well. Like, you could totally see the similarities within. I just got my hair in my mouth. Yuck. So if I had to pick between these 3, it would be between these 2, and I love Unearthly, but I would probably still go with the Ensley Rain. Like, it's hard, but I do love this color story. I love that she mixed this shade. It's kind of like cool toned with these others. I cannot wait to dig into this palette. I think it's so freaking beautiful. So this was so freaking fun. I had such a great time going through my collection and pulling out palettes that are really similar, that you could dupe the vibes of the palette, create similar looks. I think this is a really fun topic to think about. I would love to hear your thoughts. Did you think of any palettes that I didn't mention that would fit in any of these categories with any of these other palettes? I cannot wait to hear what you guys think of this video. And I can't wait to get started on part 2. I will try to have it up as soon as possible. But thank you guys so much for watching this video all the way till the end. I really hope you loved it. And until next time, bye.